Hi, everybody. Welcome into Talking Town. It's Sunday. It's 1 o'clock. Rich, the clocks have gone back. The town got their goal scoring boots back. But the one thing we can't shake off our back is defensive frailties, isn't it? So Martin is still poorly, everybody. Just to show that he was poorly, he's just been coughing at me and Richard Chandler behind the scenes. So you don't want that in your ear hole if you're listening to this on earphones. So joining me today in his lunch hour, everybody. This is how committed he is to the town and Talking Town community. It's Richard Chandler. How you doing, Rich? All right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Really good.
Feeling positive after yesterday's disappointment?
I am. I think there's a lot more positives than negatives to take out of yesterday, to be totally honest.
Oh, good stuff.
Much as it's gutting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, that's what we want to hear. How you all feeling? Put in the comments how you're all feeling after yesterday. I mean, highs and lows, wasn't it, Rich? Just looking back at the game. I mean, like I said at the top now, we finally got the goal scoring boots back. And this is something I've been lamenting for a long time, that we've looked pretty toothless, which sounds ridiculous given the 200 goals we've pretty much scored over 2 seasons. Yet on the day that we actually managed to score 3 away from home, almost score 4, Delap hitting the post at the death, we conceded the 4. But it was a good performance, wasn't it? I think certainly in terms of moving forward and showing the old attacking prowess that we had in the Football League, for certain.
Yeah, I think I felt like yesterday there was a lot more flow to our play, like we've seen in the last 2 years, 3 years under McKenna. You could see the patterns of play much more in evidence. Possibly a little bit of that you could see against Everton in the beginning before we went behind, but I don't feel like we've really had that in as much presence as it was on Saturday. I think 40 minutes, I think we looked really good for 40 minutes yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with you. I was kind of buzzing. Let's go to the top. And, there was 6 changes yesterday. Before we get into this, who is it who's leaking the town team on social media? Whoever's doing this, stop it, right? I mean, look, it's not bad. If it's bad enough as it is, like winless in 9, Rich, somehow the team is getting out. And I don't know why. I don't know the reasons how this happens. Do other clubs in the Premier League have this problem? I don't know. I'm not across X, so I don't know particularly. But I mean, it's not helping us, is it?
No, but it's not a new thing. The very first thing that Ashton said when he came in was leaks happening, and leaks happen, and leaks happen. It's still going on. It's completely bonkers. You're an Ipswich Town fan. Don't be leaking the team.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter what you know, what you hear, there's no benefit to you doing that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I don't know, people just do it for the validation, the look at me value of it, I think. ITK in the know. I don't know. It's ludicrous. But let's get back to the set of our hands out, Rich, unfortunately. But let's get back to the team. So there were 6 changes. So we saw Harry Clark come in. I thought he'd had a very good cameo against Everton. So he comes in. He has a very eventful day, as we'll discuss in a minute. Morsey out with a hamstring. So they were saying on post-match. So in came Cahoust. Connor Chaplin gets a late call. Well, it's either him or Sammy Smolix obviously comes back into the side, but obviously Amari was taken ill in the morning. So one of those 2 was thrust into the side. There'd been question marks about Delap's fitness. He makes the bench, but George Hurst starts, and then Wes came out and Benny came in. I think if you you're obviously a member of our Discord, Rich. I think people had the feeling that it was a little bit, 3 of the back 4 was League One. Was a League One defence, wasn't it? It had very much had like the feel of a Football League side, and I don't know, people were fearing the worst a little bit. But I mean, what was your take on the side?
I think it seems like we've gone back in about 3 weeks. We've gone back from having a fantastic fitness record to now having probably as many injuries as you guys used to get the ambulance out when there was constantly people on and it was constant. And even then yesterday, Benny gets what looks like a really serious injury. And you're like, for God's sake, when is our luck going to turn?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, to go from that kind of side where we're thinking, bloody hell, look, most people weren't particularly helpful. I mean, you thought, even though you are very positive around the town, you thought maybe Brentford would edge it yesterday. But I mean, bloody hell, we go 2 up, Rich. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I mean, and what I liked about the first 2 goals was, like we were talking last week, whether or not McKenna and the players had that kind of plan B, plan C to go a little bit longer. And we saw that. I mean, I've been very critical the last couple of weeks of Phillips, But Calvin was fantastic yesterday. Now, whether or not we discussed in the post-match yesterday, whether or not that was a reason that he felt he had to stand in for Morsey a little bit, take that more senior role. I mean, bloody hell, £43 million player, played internationally, played in tournaments. He's tailor-made for that. But I mean, the first goal, wasn't it? I mean, it was a fantastic ball from Calvin, straight to Hurst, little touch on Smodics, and that's what you want to see from Smodics, isn't it? Centrally, either side of the keeper, and we've gone one up. Yeah,
I think, and that's whether it's through the middle like that or whether it's down to the wings. That's what I meant about the flow. That's a goal out of last season.
It really was.
Just with different midfielder passing it to Hurst, and that's the kind of goal that Chaplin ends up scoring last season because he comes off of Hurst or whatever. I thought Cahoust and Phillips were pretty bloody good in the first 45 minutes yesterday, even in the second half. To be honest, I thought they were good.
Yes, I agree with you. Considering the only time they'd actually played competitive minutes together starting the game was the Wimbledon one, which was a bit of a debacle. Benny had made his debut in that game, having signed that morning, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They looked pretty good together, and it was nice to see. So, look, I've been critical of Calvin, but I want him to get back to that form because I think if we do, it gives us every chance of staying in the Premier League, doesn't it? So it was great to see him get back to that 40 million plus transfer fee player that Man City signed.
Yeah, absolutely.
We go up. So we go one up, Rich. We're in dreamland, one up. I mean, it was great the fact that we'd actually stopped Brentford from scoring in the first 60 seconds. I mean, that's a big thing in itself. Someone had said to me that Brentford's XG from kickoffs was actually greater than our XG across the whole of the Premier League season. So today shows you how good they are in the opening seconds, doesn't it? So to get through now. And then of course we make it 2-0. And again, it was a goal out of last season, I think, Rich. And certainly you see Chaplin had like the freedom of the park, didn't he? And he puts that lovely through ball to Hurst. This goal reminded me of the Hurst finish at Sunderland last season, the top of last season. Although he dinks it this time rather than rifled it into the roof of the net, which he did at the Stadium of Light. I mean, but bloody hell, what a great finish from George. Being a question mark, we said on the show with Leando and Steve Parry yesterday, question mark around Hurst. Is he going to be good enough for the Premier League? Well, that was a Premier League finish. It was exquisite.
Well, but there was question marks about whether he was going to be good enough for the Championship, and look what he did in that division.
Yeah, exactly. There was question
because
marks,
he was outstanding for us last season. I've got no concerns about him or Delap, whichever one starts up front. I think they both are superb strikers at this level, and Delap is probably moments away from an England squad call up. We'll come on to the third in a minute. Later, I'm sure, but Leaf has got to be in the next England squad because we haven't got a left back that can play like he can.
Yeah, agreed. The delivery that we see in the second,
and I can see comments in here about McKenna not knowing his side, and I can also see comments about match of the day. Match of the day, a bunch of muppets. What on earth is going on?
I didn't see it last night.
Lead game, they didn't review any of our goals, only the Brentford goals.
They did
in a 4-3. And their biggest focus was on the fact that in the stats, we're 19th or 20th out of all the stats, not the stat that matters, which is where we are in the table.
Why are they being anti-town? What's going on? What's going on now? I mean, I suppose the story is a little bit Brentford are 2 down. They come back and win 4-3. They've only got limited time, haven't they, in a 7-goal thriller? But it's a bit disappointing considering our story is like we're one of 4 clubs that still hasn't won. Isn't that a new record for the Premier League or something?
Yeah, but the thing with the I've got no problem with their reviewing it and the way they did, but you can't talk about how great the Brentford goals were and how poor defensively some of our goals were that we conceded, but not then focus on at least talking through the goals that we scored, because they're just a bit clueless.
Yeah, who was it? Shearer was on, wasn't he?
But they're not looking at who we've played. They keep going on about who Wolves have played.
Yeah,
very similar opening fixtures to us.
I think Wolves had the hardest
Opta stats,
and we were second hardest.
Yeah,
according to Opta.
Yeah.
All right. Oh well. Look, Matchday's not your only option. You can watch the highlights on Sky, for example. I mean, they do half-hour highlights on Sky if you can find those.
And as for the McKenna not knowing his first team. I think he does know his first team. I just don't think he can pick it because there's been so many injuries.
Well, I mean, bloody hell, when you're forced into 6 changes pretty much yesterday, and
Yeah.
he probably doesn't know his first. I mean, look, it's going to be more changes next week. Obviously, with Clark getting sent off and Ogbenny not looking good for Ogbenny, is it? They're saying an Achilles injury. I mean, bloody hell, you might as well just break your ankle. I mean, that's 6 month at least, I would have thought.
Yeah, that's the season, doesn't it?
Yeah, real shame. Real shame.
It must be pretty obvious that it's an Achilles for McKenna to say that straight after the game.
Yeah, that was it in the lead up to the second goal. I think it was, wasn't it?
Well, he got flattened in that, but I don't know if it was actually then or if it was a couple of minutes later and he went down again. Okay. But he was on the floor still when we scored the second.
Yeah. Real disappointment for him. Like we've said, we've not really seen much of him. He's not really been able to win over the fans yet. I think the best I've seen him, Rich, was in the England-Ireland game on TV where everyone gave him man of the match, I think. So it shows you the ability he's got. We've not really been able to see the pace yet, and now his season's probably done and dusted, which is a real gutter for him and a real gutter for the club, because that just leaves Burns and Amari most probably vying for the right side. But certainly where we've been discussing on Sunday shows, Rich, over the last month or so, whether or not Amari should play on the right, that might force McKenna's hand now when we're talking team selections. It's probably going to have to go over there, I think, given the abundance we've got in the middle.
And I think Chappers did himself no harm in staking a claim for a starting spot, as did Smodics in the 10.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
People have doubted whether Chappers would be big enough, strong enough at this level.
Yeah.
But I thought he was pretty good yesterday, I think. And
captain the team as well.
And if he's captain in the team, that says what McKenna thinks of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he might not even been in the starting 11. We won't know if it was Smodics or Chaplin who came in from Mari in the end, but he could have gone from just being on the bench to captain in the side and actually playing quite a pivotal role and getting the assist. So, look, we could have gone 3 up, Rich. I mean, bloody hell, I was off my seat when Smodics kind of suckers the Brentford defence. I mean, the American TV commentary thought that was an easier chance than the goal he actually converted. But I suppose he'd done all the hard work, just couldn't do the finish, could he?
I think that's a good save from the keeper. I don't think he's necessarily done anything wrong. I think it's just one of those things, isn't it? If you go 3-0 up, even with us conceding some pretty soft goals at times this season, that is still going to be at least a point, if not more. And I will come on to second half, I'm sure, but I'm completely on board with the fact that I think we deserved at least a point out of that game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I think it was Leando said to me yesterday, if we'd gone 3 up, who would have counted Brentford out of scoring 3 goals themselves? Do you know what I mean? It was like a basketball game, wasn't it? And of course, Rich, we don't take that chance. We don't go 3 up. And, within the 43rd through to, I think, the 46th minute, maybe, they scored 2 goals in 2 minutes, 2 in 3. Again, the prowess of a counter-attack of a team that's been in the Premier League for 4 or 5 seasons now, I think. And I don't know. We were shell shocked a little bit, weren't you? Because I don't know, they score the first, and then within a minute or so, it's gone to 2-2, hasn't it? But the first was Wissa. That was a great run, I think, from that keen Lewis Potter, who looks a real talent. Yeah. Calvin tried to kind of take him down, couldn't get hold of him. Puts the ball through to the left-hand side. Kind of drew, I think, just thinking back, the defence over to that right-hand side. O'Shea's there. Burgess has been pulled over to there as well. And when the ball is squared, it's actually Davis trying to make the challenge on Wissa. But he's a good play, that Wissa, isn't he? Give him a sniff, and he's only just come back from injury himself. Yeah. Stepping into the shoes of Ivan Toney, and it was 2-1. Did you think we were going to see it out half time, or did you think, shit, this is going to be 2-2 at the break?
It was a bit basketballish, like you said, wasn't it? So I wouldn't have been surprised. I wouldn't have been surprised at that point if it had been 3-2 at half time, even, because we didn't look like they looked like they were poor at the back comparative to us as well. I thought we looked like we could score against them frequently as well. So I think we defended pretty well in a lot of the game, and then we just made a couple of silly errors that cost us. Yeah,
agreed. I mean, people keep saying, don't they, like, oh, if only we can do this, if only we can do that, if only we can stop making these silly errors in defence. But as I said last week, I don't want to come across as being negative, but it's very easy to say that. And I think to actually apply that in the Premier League against clubs that we're seeing with that kind of a counter-attack threat and the talent level that Mbermo and Wissa bring to the table, it's very difficult. You're getting this week in, week out. It's going to be very difficult for us. And of course, look, they do make it 2-2, Rich. I think it was very harsh they gave this as a Clark own goal, considering it was going in. I mean, in the Football League, generally for shots on target, they're giving it to the striker, aren't they?
That's just because Match of the Day want to pump this hat-trick thing again, isn't it? That's why.
Yeah.
No, in all seriousness, I think that's never an own goal. It's going in.
It's going in.
He's tried to stop it,
yeah,
and it's going in.
If you did miss that, we did mention this on the show last night that so Harry now joins Jan Benderek in scoring own goal, giving away a penalty, and getting sent off in the same game. He did that in that, I think, Man United, the 9-0 at Old Trafford for Southampton.
Yeah.
That's not really a record Harry wants, is it?
But Jamie Carragher, who was, I think most people can agree, with pretty bloody good defender in his day, scored 9 own goals or something in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And he says, well, if I hadn't have got in the way of the ball, they would have scored anyway. So does it make any difference?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People would have lost fantasy Premier League points over Whistle not scoring that goal yesterday, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So that was harsh on Harry. I mean, look, again, we got prized open, really. I mean, Burgess is caught in kind of midfield. He'd gone sort of left to the touchline, hadn't he, where that attack starts and the through ball. And there we are at 2-2. I mean, I don't know what you were thinking at half time, and I was thinking, bloody hell, can we hold on for a point? I mean, I didn't really know whether or not we could show the attacking threat that we had again in the second half. There's just so many question marks around town, isn't there? Especially when you're chasing this kind of the monkey on our back, basically, Rich, which is we're still winless going into Brentford and post Brentford as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult because I think realistically, without blue tinted glasses on, before the season started, did anyone think we'd have much more points than we've got now? Yeah. Realistically, yeah. And I'm still positive because I don't really see that there's much difference. I think it's easy to say that there's a must-win game on the horizon because there is, because Leicester looked really poor against Forest.
They really did. Yeah, I agree to that.
And I know quite a lot of Leicester fans because that's where 2 of my kids live. And there's fans calling for him to go already because of how badly they're playing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, seriously, yeah. Because of how badly they're playing. Even though they've won a couple of games, they've not played well. And
interesting that. They're on 9 points, aren't they?
Yeah.
9 from 9.
They've won 2, haven't they?
It's interesting then you say that, and also you're getting all the noise around Russell Martin as well, who's kind of worked a miracle at Southampton, and they went on that huge 25-26 game run last season. Yeah. And then, but because McKenna has just done back-to-back with Town, there's no noise around that whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? He's still the man. He's still the man for the job. Let's duck into the second half, and within 5 minutes, Rich, we're 3-2 down, and Burno scores the pen. Obviously, we had a huge debate about this. Again, VAR's not been our friend, has it? I mean, they check it on the goal, the Harry Clark own goal, don't they? I think it was fractionally onside, and then they've said that even though the foul started outside the box, the continuation of the challenge from Clark goes into the box. It was that Lewis Potter again. He goes down inside the area. It was originally given a free kick. They change it to a pen, and suddenly we're 3-2 down within about 7 minutes either side of half time. Rich,
I think it was a pen. I think it's a pen. He's got.
You'd have wanted it at Pullman Road, yeah.
He's got. Yeah, I'd have wanted it. Yeah. We'd have got it overturned. It wouldn't have been a pen, but it's still.
Yeah.
But I think it's a pen. I think we're not getting the slice of luck that you need, but that comes in. It goes in cycles. I think VAR's very up and down in general. Before we go on to any kind of massive debate about VAR, because I think looking at the replays of the one against Clark on Saturday last week probably isn't a pen, but I've seen them given more than I've seen them not given.
Yeah.
If there's no VAR, that's a pen all day long. Man City game, Davis is a clear pen, doesn't get reviewed by VAR.
They were both pens at Man City, weren't they? Theirs wasn't, so was ours.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's one of those things, and I think it's a yellow card and it's a pen. I don't think we can argue against it. I think he's unfortunate, but I think it's the nature of how we play and how we set up that they take the quick free kick to Potter knowing that there's going to be a gap, and it gives Potter a run at Clark because of the way that we set up our play.
Yeah, agreed. I think that was Harry's first yellow, and then of course on the 69th minute he gets another one. I mean, how did you think Harry played yesterday? I mean, I was talking to Cruncher on the phone last night as they were driving back. He didn't think he'd played that well. I thought he'd done all right, to be honest with you. I mean, what an eventful afternoon for him, wasn't it? But I thought he did. I mean, what's the alternative? We've not got Axel in there. People didn't really like O'Shea playing in that role last week. You could argue like Everton's first goal come from that with the muddle up between him and Burns. I thought he'd done all right, to be honest with you.
We'll come on to Jack Clark in a minute because I see Mike D's put a thing about Jack Clark in the comments. So we'll come on to him because I definitely want to speak about him.
He has the Grealish, Mike. What are you saying? He has the Grealish.
Harry Clark, I thought actually had quite a good game.
Yeah,
it was a bit unfortunate. Yeah. And also, before he got sent off, he's the defender who blocks one of their shots that they quite easily could have scored.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things. Coming on to Jack Clark, if I'm Broadhead, I'm fuming that I'm not getting minutes and he is, because he hasn't shown it yet.
Have you not been impressed with any of the cameos he's had for Town this season?
I think, like Mike D has said, I think his reference to Grealish is probably the fact that I think this about Grealish is that he'll beat a player, then he'll try and beat him again, then he'll try and beat him again, rather than just putting the bloody ball in.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, look, he's coming in difficult circumstances, but yeah, what does Broadhead need to show on the training ground or on a match day to be able to get minutes? Because he's had more minutes this season for Wales, Rich, than he's had for in a blue shirt, hasn't he?
I just also want to correct, being Frank has just put that Clark sending off was the first against McKenna, and it wasn't.
Fleetwood?
Clark got sent off at Fleetwood.
Yeah. It was his second. His second run, isn't it? Yeah. Is he the only player that's been sent off?
I believe he is, yeah.
So he's getting involved, you see. This is what you want to see. But look, we made a raft of substitutions, didn't we? Delap come on for Hurst. Like Clark, as you mentioned, there comes on for Smodics. Wolfenden comes on for Chaplin. Let's talk about Delap. And you said it at the top of the show to make it 3-3. The Gov text me, thankfully, didn't cough in my ear, text me to say we've still got a chance in this, Matt, to get a draw. And he was right. It was a great cross, wasn't it? Vintage Davis from the Football League.
Great pass. That is such a good ball across. Yeah, that's impossible to defend.
Yeah, it was.
Because even if Delap doesn't touch it, it's going to hit the defender, and the defender can go anywhere then. And
yeah,
and I think Kyle Edwards was sent off under the McKenna they've just mentioned against Cambridge. I think
in the Pizza Cup.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's
a nothing game though, isn't it?
We're not counting that one.
But yeah, the Delap is outstanding. He's like a 2.0 version of Hurst for me.
Yeah,
because Hurst has got physicality, but he's got even more physicality than Hurst has.
Yeah, I mean, I've been calling him the bulldozer on here. I mean, he's just he already looks a different player to the one you might remember at Hull last season. I mean, I know he had a bit of a stop-start season with Hull, didn't he? He was kind of like there was injuries in there, but I think when we had the Hull City fan come on, Joe, he actually started saying Delap will go on and play for England. I remember thinking, well, that's a bit of a big shout. He also said that about Greaves, but Greaves looked more likely than Delap. But I mean, now it seems like the other way around. I mean, he's an old-fashioned Alan Shearer style. We mentioned him earlier. Number 9, isn't he? The physicality is just unbelievable. He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's him scoring, Rich, at potentially what we said last night, 60, 70% if he was carrying a knock. And there was a reason why he dropped from the starting position down onto the bench. But I mean, bloody hell, even then, he's Johnny on the spot, isn't he, to make it 3-3. And it feels like we're going to get the point that we wanted, Rich. And I think we'd all have taken that at that point, wouldn't we? Gone 2 up, gone 3-2 down. We've got it back to 3-3. And then, look, I hate to go here, but 97th minute, and that Inverno puts the ball into the box, and it's one of them cross-come shots. And it seems like Murish has left it for O'Shea. As Leando said to me quite rightly, Dave, even though we're giving Davis all the props here, he doesn't stop the cross. The centre-halves don't put a head behind it. And it's just such a scrappy goal, isn't it, Rich? And now it started the whole conversation, hasn't it? You think, like we said, Muric had played quite well yesterday. Now everyone is blaming him for the defeat.
He's getting pelters in the chat even here, and
Yeah.
he made 2 or 3 really good saves. I thought he played
He really
quite
did.
well, but he should deal with it. And it's kind of like, then you're like, well, if that's them equalising for 3-3, it's a different scenario today, the conversation wise, isn't it? But the fact that it's the 4th, when there's not just Davis, there's 2 or 3 Ipswich players that don't attack the ball to stop the cross.
Yeah.
And then O'Shea doesn't attack the ball to even just put it into Rose Ed. There's a point a couple of minutes earlier in injury time where Burns is unsure whether to put it out for a corner or let Muric come, and he just puts it out for a corner.
Which they should have done against Everton last week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. O'Shea should have done that against Everton.
Yeah,
then
exactly.
It doesn't put Burns into a position where Burns then made a mistake. It's you can't have it all on one player. It's a team, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. What I found disappointing, really, whether or not I said this yesterday, whether or not this was an instruction from the sidelines, was the fact that in that injury time, that 7 minutes, we were just trying to kind of consolidate and get the point. Every time we had possession of the ball, Muric was, it was an unbelievable throw. Bloody hell, what a throw. From the 6-yard box, goes over the halfway line. But we were just giving the ball back to Brentford to them to put more pressure on us. As my dad used to say, if we've got the ball, they can't score. So we'd like to have seen us retain the possession,
We've done that before, though, haven't we? I know Charlton was a sickener when we lost the 2 goals in injury time after going 4-2 up, but that wasn't the same. But Cardiff last season, where we're 1-0 up in injury time and we keep just giving it back to them.
We lose that, and we threw that one away, didn't we?
Yeah.
And look, that wasn't even the end of the action, was it? Bloody hell, we talk about how good Delap is. He does that turn on the left-hand side of the box. It's the bloody post. That post has not been the woodwork has not been a friend of Delap's this season. We could have snatched maybe lucky 3 points at Brighton because of the woodwork, and then we did deserve a point yesterday, I think. And it's, can you imagine that had gone in? The scenes in the away end when you think you lost 4-3, and Crunch told me people were leaving the stadium already. You'd have missed the 4-4.
I don't get why people leave the stadium.
No.
At home last week, there was people leaving with 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, exactly. You've been dreaming of being in the Premier League, and here we are, ahead of time, and now you're leaving. You've become that entitled to be in there. You're leaving ahead of time. Look, we've dropped. That was it. It finished 4-3. Rich, we didn't get the draw, unfortunately. Look, we're halfway through the show, everybody. We've dropped a link in. We have people waiting. I don't know who's going to be coming in here, Rich. We'll just wait and see. Martin, do you want to bring our first guest in? Who we've got? It's Frank.
Right, Frank.
Frank. How you doing? All right.
I'm well, considering.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm surrounded by 2 positive people here. This is very pleasing. Look, you saw the game yesterday, Frank, watching in the Netherlands. What was your take on it? Look, we're in dreamland at 2-0. Suddenly we're 3-2 down. We thought we'd got a point, only for it to go at the end. How did you? It was a roller coaster, right? What did you think?
It was a roller coaster, Matt. This is quite interesting because McKenna has been reluctant to bring back some of the. I was arguing the case last week, if you recall. I said, why doesn't he bring back Connor Chaplin, George Hurst, some of the people that got there, because this overused perhaps momentum, and I believe Kieran McKenna and Mark Ashton don't like using this expression, but we had momentum in League One, we had momentum in the Championship, and why was that? Well, the players, they had this iron belief that even if we went a goal down, we could come back, and there was a good example of it yesterday, because when we were losing 3-2 and down to 10 men, nobody expected us to get a goal back. And then we bring Liam Delap, who's now almost a Premier League superstar.
He's your favourite player now, Frank. He's your favourite player, right?
I'm going to eat a lot of humble pies, on that one. But
I've done it before. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, with regard to Muric, I'm still not convinced. Now, if you look at anybody that has the audacity now still to suggest that he's as good with his feet as Ladke is in Dreamland. He's not. He never has been. He looks clumsy. When he's trying to control the ball, his distribution is poor as well generally. And yesterday I noticed 3 or 4 occasions, although in fairness he made some good saves, fine. But it doesn't matter how many good saves you make if you concede 4 goals. So he was fumbling 2 or 3 times, and a simple catch, He had to grasp it twice. Why is that? Is that a confidence thing?
Go on, Rich.
What I was going to say just quickly is because I'm reading loads about Ladke. Ladke turned us down. Move on from Ladke. He didn't want to play at Ipswich anymore.
No, but I'm not saying. But the point about it is, I'm making a comparison between Ladke and Juric, not desperately wanting.
Yeah, I'm not saying you necessarily are, but I'm seeing lots of people on Facebook and social media and stuff saying, "Why did we let Ladke go? Why did we let Ladke go?"
It was a non-starter, Rich. You're saying is that he didn't want to stay here anyway?
No, I don't think that's true, by the way, Matt. No, he wanted to stay. He said it many times. The point about it is, as far as I can gather, reading in between the lines and my friend the Mole, he said he wanted a 3-year deal, but because of his age, Ipswich are only prepared to give him a 2-year deal. And he wanted a big boost to his salary, which, again, Ipswich declined. This is the information I've acquired. And
part of it's true, part of it's not, from what I know.
All right. What do you know then? Please explain.
As far as I've been told or have been made aware, it was around contract length, not around money.
So maybe the 3 years. The 3 years seems quite steep for me, Frank, considering Ladke's probably in the twilight of his career, I would say, at the top level.
Yeah, but the point is, a goalkeeper, Matt, outlasts any other player on the field.
Okay. Yeah, you've got that.
29 is still playing well. We've had that wonderful Italian keeper who's 40 years of age. What was it, Dino Zoff or whatever? And so the thing about it is, age doesn't really matter as much. I mean, look at Jamie Vardy. He's a striker, and he's 38, still scoring goals in the Premier League.
Good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a silly argument to make that, to be honest, because in my humble opinion, and it's not always too humble, he should have got a 3-year deal. Problem solved.
I disagree.
Ladke certainly didn't play against QPR for Burnley yesterday in the 0-0. He was sat on the bench. So I mean,
he's barely played.
They paid a lot of money, didn't they, for that James Trafford, I think. So they probably feel an obligation to pay. What's the solution in goal then, Frank, before we let you go? Because we've got a couple of others. I mean, look, are you on the Walton back in train? Look, we had 2 keepers on the bench yesterday because we was down to bare bones. So who would you choose, Walton or Slicker?
Well, I mean, against Liverpool, Walton didn't do any harm. You can't argue.
No, true, I agree. Yeah.
The goals. I think he's a bit slow with his distribution, but maybe we need to be a bit slower because we've given away so many silly goals because, playing out from the back. And Juric is not the answer to that. Now, if Ladke's not playing for Burnley, why not haul him back in January? But Burnley have been laughing all the way to the bank. They gave us Dara O'Shea, who's been crap. And to be honest, he's been appalling.
You've not been impressed with him either?
Not at all. And I have to say with Juric, another one that Burnley must be laughing all the way to the bank with coming to Ipswich. I have never been convinced about Juric. He does make good saves. He's big, he's tall, he looks the personification of what you want in a goalkeeper, except that he's immobile.
Yeah. Oh, but it's very difficult to go against this when we are conceding sloppy goals. And certainly, look, you mentioned 2 of them there. O'Shea and Juric should have done better for their winner yesterday. I totally agree with that. I mean, Rich, would you bring Walton back in? I mean, just for something different. He did play all right against Liverpool, to be fair. Was thrust into that as well because it was a late injury for Juric, wasn't it? A day before or whatever.
He did play it all right against Liverpool. However, it's a different game because you're not going to play out from the back against Liverpool in the way that you will at home against other teams. I would be playing Juric because I think he is the better all-round keeper, and I think he's better with his feet than Walton is. But Walton is a good keeper, but Walton's a career number 2, has been anyway, other than the one full season under us, 1 and a bit seasons under us when we got promoted.
But he has played in the Premier with Brighton, hasn't he? He's played a few games in the Premier League. But I have to say, before I go, because I know you want to move on to other people, I thought Cam Burgess, I'm delighted that he's back in the side. He's come from League One. He played pretty well yesterday. He was more or less faultless with the goals as far as I can see. Calvin Phillips, good to see him starting to play well in town. Jens Kajusta, I thought he was very good, technically very efficient. And I was delighted to see 2 of my favourites come back into the team, George Hurst and Connor Chaplin, even though it was enforced. I think McKenna will have to keep them in the side. I'd love to see them have a longevity in the first team and not just coming on as bit part substitutes, in my opinion.
I reckon McKenna must have been watching the show last week, Frank. Took down some notes, put it on the post-it, thought to himself, hold on a minute. Yeah. The thing about us being winless, Frank, is you don't have the inspiration for a poem, do you? Whilst we're not picking up points. We need this to change drastically.
It came close yesterday. I was beginning to write it at 3-3, but
so close. All right, mate. You take care of yourself over there in Europe, all right? And we'll see you very soon. All right. All the best. There we go. So interesting points there. I mean, what Frank's making there, Rich. I mean, the goalkeeping conundrum. I'm not sure. I mean, again, like we talk about Burnley paying big fee for Trafford, hence he's probably playing over Hladky. Probably a reason to same argument is we paid a big fee for you, Rich. Got rid of Hladky to Burnley. That's probably the reason to be playing him. I think.
I don't see him bringing in.
It seems a bit of a long.
I think Muric is going to stay being the number one.
Yeah, it feels like it's got that kind of vibe to it, hasn't it? I think so. But no, Christian Walton obviously in too gutted about being on the bench. He signed a new deal, didn't he? Knowing that he's probably going to be the number 2 for the time being. But look, who knows what the future brings? Who would have thought Hladky would play every single game in the Championship when we was in the summer after the League One promotion? So, all right, mine. Who we got next? It's like roulette, this, Rich. Russian roulette. Who we got? It's Colin. He's back from the coach at Brentford. How you doing, Colin? Have you cheered though? I know you was very disappointed yesterday. I hope you're feeling a little better today. How are you feeling?
Yeah, not too bad. Hello, Matt. Hello, Rich. How are you, mate?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I mean, like I said yesterday to a few people, there was positives, and Richard has highlighted that already, and I'm not just saying it because he said it, because I said it to several people yesterday. There was a lot of positives yesterday. Obviously, there was negatives. If we don't say there was negatives, we're lying to ourselves.
What were the negatives? Because you're a very positive person, like the crystal ball wear. What did you see yesterday that just felt that we need to probably improve upon, knowing that we're going in after 9 games still winning? What were you thinking?
Well, I think we need to be a little bit more selective, if you like, at the back. Obviously, that's where most of our problems seem to lie. I think, like Richard said a little while ago, he's absolutely totally right. I mean, there has been I've missed every game this season, and there's quite a few times where we don't seem to stop that ball in, But I don't like to over criticise. I mean, look, obviously, I'm not going to lie to anybody. I mean, look, I was devastated yesterday when that last goal went. I was devastated. Anybody who was anywhere near me, Mark Rat or anybody, will tell you, and everybody was totally devastated. I mean, I was at the Charlton game, what Richard referred to a little while ago. And I came out of that ground with Cruncher that day, and I remember and Peter wouldn't believe it. I mean, me and Cruncher especially, I mean, we couldn't even say anything to each other. I didn't know what to say.
I remember, yeah.
I came out of that ground yesterday, not nigh on exactly the same. I just could not believe, because we put so much into it. And let me just point out, like I said to you in a WhatsApp today, Matt, and to Martin, apart from Chaplin and the obvious ones, Hurst, Delap, and you could go through, Phillips, Cahuste. A lot of people had good games yesterday. A lot of people were vying for that man of the match. The man of the matches for me were the fans, and I don't say that. They were unbelievable. I'll tell you what, I have heard and seen Man United fans. You can say what you like about Man United fans, but when they're away from home, and these fans are the same. They just sing, and sing, and it doesn't matter what the score is. They keep behind their team, and that's exactly what every I repeat with a capital E, every Town fan did yesterday. And I'll tell you what, they deserve. I tip my cap to absolutely each and every child, woman, and man who was in that away end yesterday. You were truly fantastic. And I'll tell you what, when Kieran came over and he went like this on his chest, he meant that. He absolutely meant that. And that meant the world to him. It meant the world. I noticed Mirich was a little bit sheepish in the background, but I can understand that, absolutely. But, you know, we've got to, like I say, we've got to take the positives out of the negatives. And I think if we can just, I know it's easy for us to say, but I think if we can just sort this, you know, goals against thing out, I do honestly think, look, I don't think we're going to rip this thing up. I do genuinely think we are more than capable of finishing in that 17th place, which really, like Ian, my son, has said all along, before a ball was kicked, I'll break your arm off, Dad, for a 17th place. And, you know, I started the season thinking we'd finish 14th. Might possibly still do. You don't know. You don't know in life. No. But I think we'll stay up. I do honestly think we'll stay up. I do. But we need to learn quickly. We really do.
Before we let you go, Colin, very quick one. We obviously got a, you know, Morsey wasn't in the midfield yesterday, which has been a very rare occurrence in his Ipswich Town career. You was impressed with Phillips. Do you think, like I said earlier, I've been a bit critical for someone who's a £43 million player. He looked like and I said last week, he looked like he was going downhill. But yesterday, he seemed to step into Morsey's shoes for me and played very well. What did you think of him and Cahoots together?
Yeah, I thought they linked really, really well yesterday. Phillips seemed to have a little bit more energy about him yesterday. His passing range, his passing range, yes, it was very, very good.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Tuesday is technically very good. I watched him in pre-season actually, and I did say on one of the Taunton Downs. I can't remember when it was. I think he played in a couple of the friendly games home, and I was very impressed with him in pre-season, and it's been a little bit of a sickener really in a lot of ways that he's had his injury problems. But and also another thing I must mention is Benny. You know, I must wish him well. I mean, that looked awful. I mean, it was very innocuous. I mean, he went down like as we was going forward, didn't he? And to be fair to the referee, that was very. You know, I thought he was awful yesterday. By the way, I thought he was absolutely disgraceful in that first half. I'll tell you something. How he let that play go on. You know, and in the corner of his eye, he must have seen him and think, look, he's in distress. You know, he could have quite easily stopped that game there and then, but he let it go, and obviously we scored the second goal. But it could have quite easily been brought back. That it really could, because Benny was obviously in a lot of pain and a lot of stress and a lot of discomfort. You know, but as regards next week, you know, it's a massive game for Town. I just hope and pray, because it wasn't quite so good, I didn't think, last week against Everton at home. Let's just, you know, like everybody at 17, 1800 were there yesterday, let's mirror image those 17, 1800 by the 27,000 Town fans that will be there next week. And let's really, really make it difficult for Leicester. We can do it. We normally do it every home game. Let's make sure we all get behind the side next week, because it's a massive game for our season next week. And the very lastly, I'm sorry to say, I've got to say this. I thought match of the day, Alan Shearer and Theo Walcott. I thought they were. I normally like Alan Shearer, but I tell you what, I thought it was a disgrace yesterday. They didn't, you know, speak a little bit better about us, because we made for although we lost the game, we made for a magnificent game at that stadium yesterday, and they spoke about us as if we was not very good at all, and I thought that was very, very bad of them. I really did.
I need to watch this on iPlayer. Like I said, I didn't watch it. Before you go, Colin, one word answer: must win next Saturday against Leicester? Yes or no? Must win?
Yes, but can I just say what I always say? Yeah, yes, but no, yeah, there is. Yeah, yes, but it's definitely a must not lose.
Oh, okay. Must not lose. I like that. You spun the coin on me
Yeah.
there, Colin. Well done. All right, Colin. I'll speak to you later. Yeah. All the best. Yeah.
See you guys.
Well, there we go. Rich, your theory is that it is a must-win game, isn't it? As are all the home games against everyone that's going to be around us. And obviously, we lost the Everton one, but we've still got Wolves to come, Southampton, and whoever else gets.
I don't think Everton are going to be down anywhere near down there either.
No.
I don't understand this theory that they're a rubbish side because of the start they'd had. Dyche has made them into a difficult team to be, and
as we found out,
and they would have been mid-table last season with no points deduction.
Exactly. Liverpool 12 they finished.
Yeah. I think there's going to be 6 teams that are really tight, and I think we're one of them. But I think that realistically means you can finish anywhere from 20th to 16th. 15th.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, we've not won in 9 games, and if Palace don't do something against Spurs today, we'll still be outside of the bottom 4, which is crazy, isn't it? I mean, who would have predicted that at the top of the season? Do you know
and at one point, when it was 3-3 yesterday, and Wolves were still losing to Brighton, we'd have been 4 or 5 points clear of the bottom 2.
Yeah.
And as it is, we're still clear of the bottom. We're still not in the relegation zone, having lost again. The home games against those teams that will be down there, which are Wolves, in my opinion, Wolves, Saints, Leicester, Palace, and one other, because there'll be another team that ends up having a slide, because there always is. But I think Wolves and Leicester and Southampton are worse than us.
I hope you're right. We've got one more person to come in. Who we got, Martin? One more to come in. It's Steve, exactly. Steve, have you been there at the whole time? It feels like you're just still there from last night.
I haven't. No, I just wanted to pop in because I've had to think about yesterday, because yesterday was like a gut reaction. You know what I mean?
It was, yeah. Of course it is, yeah. Post match, yeah.
It's never balanced on a gut reaction. And like I said, in the last 24 hours, I've seen a lot of. We always like to find the scapegoat, especially when we don't get a result that we want. And we had it with Phillips, we had it with Johnson. Everyone looks for a scapegoat. Muric is the one yesterday. Yeah, he made a mistake. He knows that. He's not stupid. We're not all perfect. He's a human being. He makes a mistake. You can turn around and say, well, why did we start dropping deep when we were 3-3? Because we were inviting crosses into the box. Why didn't somebody go out and charge Mbuemo when he had the ball? Because there were players there.
Yes.
Yeah? Why didn't someone go and close him down? Make that cross come shot a little bit more difficult for him. There's plenty of things that could have happened that didn't happen. Why didn't Dara O'Shea jump for the ball? Instead of saying, we're not going to attack the ball, leave it for the keeper. Well, what if the keeper doesn't know that? This is a new team. These are new players. He might have been signalling the goalkeeper the way he signalled the goalkeeper at Burnley. Or he might have a different signal. Never. There's different. These. This goalkeeper has had like more defensive partnerships than I've had at dinners.
You said this yesterday, didn't you? Yeah, I do agree with that. That's a very good point. Yeah, it's always two personnel.
Consistency, and unfortunately, and this is no slight to any player or the club or anyone, is unfortunately we've had some bad luck and we're not able to get consistency. If we had a proper back 4 that we all know is capable of, with the likes of Chuanzebe out there, with the likes of Greaves out there, I don't think we'd have lost that game. I'll be honest. I think we'd have come out with at least a point. In fact, we'd have probably got more because, I know Frank was coming out with a great defence of Burgess, but I'm sorry for that goal. Why was O'Shea covering that player on the left-hand side, left centre-back? That is Burgess's role. Why are you halfway up the field? You should not be there when they've got the ball. You should be running back, and he wasn't running. He was jogging. You should be. You've got a right centre back in your spot, and you're just lumbering back. That is not good enough.
On the equaliser, that was the equalising goal, wasn't it?
That is not good enough. Yeah,
he was stuck in midfield.
If you're out of position, help the leather getting back and the same with the first goal. Phillips going in for that challenge. If you can't get the ball in the tackle, take the man out. Don't care if you get a yellow card. Take him out. Then the cross doesn't come in. You can make the argument they can score from the free kick. but you're setting up. They've already broke on you at this point. They're chasing you down, and we've got our faces to goal. In a free kick, I've got our backs to goal facing the ball. We're set up. This way, we weren't set up. And if you take the player out, you give away the free, get a yellow card. But he doesn't get it. You don't get that blind ball where the ball comes in and the defenders don't see it because the backs are towards the ball. You've got the fit, and there was a numerous amount of things that went wrong. And there were things that didn't go for us. And I've said this before. A lot of things have been. McKenna said it. We've been on the end of small margins, and I'm not being a hypocrite. I'm still not going to be. Like last season, I predicted we'd finish somewhere between 4th and 8th. So I didn't even expect us to go up last season. Yeah. So I'm not going to jump on here and start dancing on the bandwagon and say we're going to stay up. Yeah. It's going to be tough to stay up. I did say 16th, 14th to 17th. I think that was more hope than anything. But we're still 17th at the moment. Will it get better? I think it will. Yeah. A lot of the bad luck will firm it. Other teams will get bad luck. Like I said yesterday, if Leicester lose Vardy, they've really got nothing. Yeah. There's a couple of other teams. If Leicester lose, or Southampton lose a couple of players, or if Crystal Palace lose a couple of players, they will have nothing. If Brentford lose Mbeumo, they've got nothing. He's pretty much their only goal scorer. I know Whistle scored 2 yesterday, but you look at Mbeumo's his goals, he scored near enough the same as us. Take him out of the team, that is a big loss. And they've got no one to replace him with. Yeah, because there's other guys coming back, but they don't know whether he's never played before yet, so they don't know whether he's good enough yet.
Christmas, I reckon. Yeah.
So I think let's stop with the scapegoating. That's not going to help. Yeah. I know the players probably don't watch podcasts or probably don't go on social media, but fans do. And it brings everybody down. We want to critique, yes, when players do things that they shouldn't do, when they should have been better pressing, and when, the shooting's not through. That's fine. It's fine to critique, but to turn around and say, this person cost us the game, this person
Yeah.
No, it was a collection of things that cost us that game. Yeah. We can blame Smodic then for missing that, what I think is an easier second shot than the first shot. He cost us the game. There is a collection of things that cost us the game. The same against Everton. It wasn't just the defensive frailties that cost us that game against Everton. It was our inability to score that cost us that game against Everton. So it can't just be on one thing. This is a team game, and everybody plays as a team. Everybody wins, loses, and draws as a team. And can we stop calling out players and saying we will need to drop this one player because he made one mistake? Yeah. Muric made a mistake, yes. He'll admit he made a mistake. But if it weren't for them 2 or 3 saves that he made, it wouldn't have mattered whether he made a mistake because we would have been well beaten. Let's put that context in there before we make a knee-jerk reaction that could affect us in the next game. I'm not comparing him against Hladky. God almighty. Hladky's never played in the Premier League. Is he any good? I don't know. He can't even play in the Championship right now, so he can't that good, can he? Yeah. Not big around the bush. If I don't know who manages Burnley these days.
Scott Parker. If he thought
he was the greatest goalkeeper since sliced bread, he wouldn't be sitting on the bench, would he? Let's be fair. Because Trafford's not exactly pulling up any trees. No. He suits the system he plays. Hladky doesn't suit the system he plays. Hladky may not have suited the system we wanted to play. Yeah, maybe Muric suits the system we want to play. He's a new player, like a lot of our players are new players. They take time to settle down. They take time to acclimatise, and you've just got to give them that time. I'll say this now, and I'll be honest with it. I want us to stay up. I will be delighted if we stay up. But if we go down because our players have not got the time to acclimatise, fine, we will come back stronger. And that is the best thing for us. We are not building a club for now. We are building a club for the future.
Well said, Steve. I'm going to leave it like that. We'll see you next time, Steve, all right?
All the best.
Good comments there from Steve. Rich, I mean, look, Steve always talks a lot of common sense, I think, and he's totally right. I think digging players out certainly isn't going to help. Look, we've got a lot of injuries at the moment, haven't we? Is there an argument for next week to have Hurst start again and Chaplin involved, or would you be bringing back Delap? I mean, it's nice to have a nice conundrum to have, isn't it? You got 2 strikers scored goals there in Delap and Hurst.
I think it'd be exceptionally harsh either way. So it's kind of I'm going to sit on the fence massively here and do a beep and just not make a decision.
Leave it to McKenna.
Yeah, because I could see arguments either way. I thought Hurst had a really good game, but equally, Delap comes off the bench, clearly having had a knock of some description, because that's why he didn't start, and then he scores and is really unlucky not to get another. So it's difficult. They're both in good form, but the longevity of the form is Delap, so maybe Delap comes back in.
Yeah, okay.
I think one thing I know is that I fancy both of them against Vass for Leicester, because he is shocking.
Yeah. It'll be interesting if Morsey returns next week. If Calvin can continue as he did yesterday, I think that's a positive. Be nice to get Luongo back, wouldn't it? I know Taylor was also injured yesterday, so it'd be good to have those options off the bench. It's before we wrap up here, it's weird, isn't it? I was saying to Cruncher on the phone yesterday, it's weird that we're playing less games yet got more injuries. This must be the most injuries we've ever had under McKenna, I would say. Is it because the training is intense and the games are intense? You got that intensity right across the week? Would you reckon?
I feel like it's a bit of that, because all the players have always said that when we took them into League One and McKenna came in, he wanted to make them fitter than Championship teams. And last season he did the same with Championship. And this season we've had a lot of new players come in. And maybe some of it is that they are, much as he is only managing in the Premier League for the first time, and Man United haven't been great over the period that he was an assistant manager, he's seen how they train, and maybe he's pushing the players and it's making them break down. Maybe. I don't know.
Interesting.
Because it does seem a bit odd that we've suddenly had some.
It really is, yeah. Considering we've been what felt like we've been lucky of injuries, or we had better medical staff have come in under the game changer ownership. Probably a combination of both, I would imagine. But yeah. All right, Rich, we're gonna let you go because we know you've got to get back to work. Got to earn a pound note. Yeah. So thanks for joining me today. Hopefully the Gov will be better soon, and we'll be back midweek as we count down to Leicester. Must win very quick, Rich. Leicester next week.
I think
must
it
win.
Is.
Yeah, it feels like that, doesn't it? I did say I didn't think Everton was. I feel like Leicester, if they are going to get dragged into the bottom six, then it does feel like a must win. Anyway, chin up, everybody. A game at Pullman Road next week against Leicester City. A chance to get that first win on the board, and who knows where we might go once we've got them 3 points. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we will see you all very soon. All the best.
Talking Town, proud to partner with Match Bingo. Play Match Bingo, win cash prizes. And each time you play, support the crucial work of the East Anglian Air Ambulance. Download the app through your App Store or Google Play, or however you get your apps. Match Bingo. Play Match Bingo, win cash prizes. Over 18s only, be gamble aware. SolarWise Roofing and Building Services Limited. Solar panels, roofing services, UPVC roofline, groundwork services and more. Call 01206 628 544, that's 01206 628 544, or visit solarwiseroofingandbuilding.co.uk. Stowmarket Osteopaths. Freddie's the governor here. Give him a call on 01449 613 633. Don't live life in pain. Visit Stowmarket Osteopaths for physiotherapy, osteopath, Pilates and more. That's Stowmarket Osteopaths on 01449 613 633.